these three questions. The first one is for Dr. Katz. Dr. Katz, you worked in the university community for most of your adult life. Many of us trust and like universities. Should we assume universities are unbiased, caring institutions who provide benevolent scientific information to the world for the sake of bettering humanity, or are there financial conflicts of interest influencing the information they report? Please explain if when we hear about a study or information coming from a university, if we should assume it's unbiased and accurate. Second question, where do the largest, strongest animals on this planet get their protein from? Is it true that they are all vegans or herbivores? What does this have to do with human health? And number three, are there risks to low cholesterol? Gabriel Cousens says low cholesterol is associated with greater depression, according to studies that he has seen.
These are all for me?
No, those are all for all three of you. Just the first was for you.
Just the first one. Are universities unfailingly, unassailably, unimpeachably ethical and wonderful? Yes, of course. Yeah, no, so it's silly. Universities are institutions with lots of people in them, and there certainly ought to be participation in the principles of academia. And academia ought to foster the pursuit of truth and understanding. It ought to foster a diversity of perspectives and methods, and it ought to foster transparency. But human beings have biases, and those biases influence the work we do. And quite frankly, some biases are more lucrative than others. So even if the university is committed to being unassailably ethical, what if some of your researchers are asking questions that more readily result in grant funding than others? What if those asking questions that the beef industry likes, just for instance, are more readily funded than those asking questions of interest to the zucchini growers? And what if the fact that those with interest related to the beef industry get funded more advances them in the academic hierarchy, so they attain the status of full professor, department chair, or tenure, and have more leverage at the university, and carry with them their native human bias? Now, has this tarnished the reputation of the university, or is just this the normal course of human machination? I would argue that it's a bit of both. I think we really need to recognize that institutions can be motivated by a diversity of interests. Universities are interested in money like people are. Individuals all have biases. Biases don't make us bad. They really just mean we're human. They're things we like and prefer. What I think you have to require in all cases is evidence of egalitarianism. A willingness to ask a variety of questions, a willingness to support a variety of pursuits. What worries me is if there's a strong link between an institution and a given agenda. And the question is timely because as I shared with you yesterday, I was here fresh from some diet wars, particularly related to processed meat. And the latest development in the back and forth tussle there is that the chancellor of Texas A&M University, which is a land-grant university with ties to big agriculture and the beef industry, among other things, the chancellor of Texas A&M sent a letter to Harvard University, the president, asking that Frank Hugh, Walter Willett, and I all be investigated for opposing the guidelines telling you to all keep eating processed meat. So it appears that Texas A&M doubled down on these very misguided guidelines. So I would argue there appears to be a bias at the level of the whole institution. Walter, Frank, and I, for those of you interested, all said, yes, let's by all means have Harvard University investigate. So, compared to most institutions, universities are temples of the concerted effort to pursue truth, but they're flawed institutions because human beings run the show, and human beings are all flawed. So, I think at the end of it all, they're better sources than most, but caveat emptor. You need to know, who are these people? What do they have to say? Where does their funding come from? Do they always produce the same answer to just one question? Have they devoted their entire career to one funding source? Would they be able to change what they're talking about and not have it hurt them? The messages coming out of Harvard about diet could be anything under the sun, and Harvard would be fine. It appears to me that if the research coming out of Texas A&M didn't favor meat, it would be harmful not only to the individuals, but to the university. That's pernicious.